Welcome to my instructional screencast for Notion. And I put for education in parentheses because I will not specifically be talking about Notion for education. However, I do use Notion personally, but I do not have access to Notion for education through the district. But it is available. Notion is both an online platform and an app designed to improve collaboration and productivity. It serves both learners and educators by offering a place for educators to house anything related to teaching, planning, and collaborating with peers. And with proper training, it can be used to teach students the same thing. For learners, it helps with engagement with several types of text, videos, images, links, and organization of assignments, lessons, and notes. Educators benefit from automation such as to-do list tasks, and replies on projects, organizing units and curriculum maps, and using the platform as a second brain, since teaching sometimes can become overwhelming. According to the beliefs technology preparation for ELA teachers, it is important that technologies provide new ways to consume and produce text. And it also says that literacy means literacies. So Notion introduces students to the idea of audience through authentic assignments that have shared purpose and reach beyond the classroom to other youth as well as across generations. And Notion allows educators to design assignments, activities, and assessments that encourage interdisciplinary thinking, community, civic engagement, and technological integration informed by theories relevant to ELA. So here I have a video of how I use Notion as both an educator and how I create assignments for my students to use Notion as well. So I want to give you a quick overview of how I use Notion. One way I use Notion is to create a teacher planner that keeps me grounded throughout the school year. So I start off my first column with the standards, claims, and targets, long-term planning, and the unit quarterly plan. And you can see the other planners as you keep looking. Very quickly, I'm going to go over the standards, claims, and targets before I show you the instructional tools I use. So I have it separated into two columns, and all of the information is toggled, meaning it's kind of hidden under an arrow for me to expand it as I need to see it, even down to the actual standards. So I use this as my go-to for planning, but I also create activities for students such as such as the student quest list. So that can be seen here. And the student quest list is an activity that allows students to complete a variety of activities on their own, whether they're in class or at home, and they are able to enter how many times they completed the activity, how many points they have, whether it was a favorite activity, and they're able to see what activity or what the quest is and how they are to complete it. So these activities are separated into whether you're reading a literature book or an informational text. In the end, they are able to type in a number that is calculated through the number of times they completed the activity. So they gain points. This is 40 points here, and it is summed up at the bottom. And they're able to enter their points into a ranking to see where they qualify with XP points. So in this case, the student has 40 points. And when they look at their ranking here, it shows them a GIF that I posted, and it says that they are a newbie with XP. So this is how I use Notion in my classroom. And there is a Notion for Educators option. However, my district does not subscribe to it. So you can always, in that sense, just use Notion as a website for students to explore. I have a little bit more time, so let me explain a few more things. Also, each column has different properties or functions. So here I'm able to post a link, and this makes Notion kind of diverse as to what it can do. And I'm able to compute formulas in Notion. So Notion uses its own language for creating formulas, but it's loosely based on JavaScript. So if you're familiar with using JavaScript, it's very similar. Now I'm going to show the bottom here where students are able to see a sum of the calculations based on the formula completed, and that is where students get their score from. Lastly, I just want to mention the fact that, as you can see, Notion uses tables. And so this is very similar to Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. However, to me, it just has a few more options, given that it has these properties that you're able to add depending on what type of columns you use. So I'm going to click on this. And as you can see, the properties I'm referring to is the ones that I have here. And the layout can be changed. However, in this case, it works best for me to have a table based on what I want my students to do. But there are other layouts that you can use to display the same exact information that you see here. So that is Notion. So my expected outcomes that I want my students to be able to do are very similar each time when I use a new tool or tools that I'm familiar with. Again, on an ELA level, I want my students to be able to consume text and produce text in an exciting way. So that is the reason why I like to introduce new technology tools to my students. On a personalized learning level within my ELA class, I want them to be able to explore choice for demonstrating their learning, which is why I have a variety of activities in the quest list. I want them to be self-motivated with student autonomy over their assignments, being able to choose what they want to do, being also motivated to get it done in their own time. I want them to have varied strategies for how they choose to demonstrate their learning, and I want them to be able to work at their own pace. On a technology level, I want my students to be 21st century learners. This includes, based on the ISTE standards, being digital citizens, being creative communicators, being global communicators. And most importantly, and on a personal level, I want my students to leverage tools in order to stand out amongst their peers and beyond the classroom. So because I'm teaching eighth graders, I want them to go to high school and feel fully equipped to demonstrate their learning for their high school teachers, especially in ELA classes. Lastly, I want them to be able to synthesize information across all platforms. And that is it.